Give me just one night to kiss you underneath the moonlight. Go through. I wanna know everything about you, so I can see you in a new light. If you give it just one night, you're gonna see me in a new light. Okay.
My money over the top. My squad over the top. What's next? My drip over the top. Smile. All my homies eating, yeah, we greedy. Okay. 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 She riding Destiny all black. Maybe rock bridge all white. Shawty go big on her knees. I might just make my wife. Ryan snakes my plug. We linked it with killers and cops. I don't forgive and forget. Context and aim for the head.
Welcome back to Guide Live, the hottest jam session, B2B jam session in the world. Welcome back. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this kind of early afternoon episode for Guide Live jam session. For the last week and a half, I haven't been able to do any live recordings due to the fact that I've been overseas in Morocco working on an album. But we're back and we have a lot to talk about because from what I've heard and what I've been keeping track of, a lot has not changed in America or the business world in general. But before I dive in on my topic of today, hey, if you're tuning in right now, you're a frequent viewer or listener, or you're tuning in later, show us some love. Send me a comment in the comments. I'll make sure to reply and highlight you, or send me a DM on whatever platform you're viewing from, whether it be YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, it doesn't matter. Holla at me, and then definitely I'll holla back, or you can just reach out to me at timsalau.com. With that said, y'all, look, there's a lot going on in the world today, and I don't want to go too deep on things. I just want to talk about the things that I'm really interested in from a business perspective and just a work life standpoint that's really fascinating to me. The top thing on my mind here that I actually want to start with is space. I hope that's not too vague for you all, but yes, space. Recently, it has been highlighted that the guy that played, well, William Shatner, the guy, I don't know what character he played in Star Trek. I don't really pay attention to Star Trek. I'd never really watched Star Trek, not as big of a fan, but he got flown to space. And I think that's just really funny, just due to the fact that everyone's so interested in space travel these days. And me personally, I am not interested in space travel, but I'm interested in what, him going to space or anyone being able to go to space, how that could change how we live and what work is like. I mean, in the future, are we going to be teleworking from space, Mars, Moon? I don't know. It's a really interesting future if it happens, but there's just been this really urgent growth or interest around space travel and us, establishing new planets, new cities on Mars or wherever we want. And I think it's fascinating to think about. And would love to get y'all's thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about space travel? How do you think it could change the way we work? Right. And, are you keeping track of all of this stuff around William Shatner and him being traveling to space for a little bit on Mr. Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin space flight airline? Right. Because Mr. Bezos is doing that now. Let me get your thoughts. I just think that's something that we can touch on a little bit, and to dive deeper on that. One of the things that is very interesting about Mr. Shatner's experience is that after he went to space for about 11 minutes, not 12 minutes, not 13 minutes, not even 15 minutes, he was there for about 11 minutes. He really came back. Hold on. He came back and he said that it was probably one of the most overwhelming experiences of his life. So it was overwhelming. He'll never forget it. And that's pretty cool. I actually started crying when he got back to Earth. So it's interesting. It was very, very fascinating. Yeah, it's crazy, our love for space and all of these things that currently going on around space travel. It's really good press for a lot of the companies involved, and I'm just gonna continue tracking it, right? So that's one thing I wanted to talk to y'all about. But on another note, let's move on because there's some other juicier things that are happening in the business world right now. Some that are due to the pandemic, but I promised myself not to talk about that C word for this month of October. If you want to hear me say the C word, I said it in my most recent extended play, Tech Boy. Check it out. It's on all streaming platforms now, definitely Spotify and other platforms. So make sure you check out Tech Boy. But I'm interested in talking about, and this might be something that some of you aren't aware of if you're not into football. But this is it's something that I found out about just the other day as I was traveling back to America. And a certain NFL coach kind of got in trouble with his employer. And he got in trouble with his employer because there was a video that surfaced online of him dancing with a woman that he's not married to. He's not married to this woman. And it was in a club. And this guy is a prolific coach. He coached in college football for a long time, won a few championships with some of the best teams in college football. And he recently got this job with, I'm going to just go ahead and say the team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, a Florida-based team. And, they've been down 0-4 recently in terms of their record. They haven't won any games yet this season. And this coach was caught on camera in a club after a loss, I believe, getting twerked on by a woman that was not his wife. Yep, on camera. Earlier this week, I believe, he apologized about it. Or last week, I'm not sure around what time this happened. Just got on to this information. He apologized on camera to his team, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And for those of you who are kind of privy to what I'm talking about, yes, I'm talking about Urban Myers. He got caught just turning up in a club, and it's everywhere. And now his employer is getting involved in the matter after he's apologized, right? And after he said that, it was just bad judgment, bad decision making on his part. His wife had to delete her Twitter or social media because she was getting all kinds of negative and hurtful messages. And, she tweeted that everyone's a sinner. And that, she's already forgiven her husband, I believe, or they've already talked about it. I mean, she obviously saw the video. Everyone did. The world did. And I think this is really interesting, right? Because there is a lot happening right now, aside from, these pandemic mandates, in which a lot of people are now, there's a conflict that employees are having with their employers, and it is becoming a part of the larger media, right? It's almost as if like there's nowhere you can't go where a camera isn't following you, or there's not someone reporting on the pandemic, or you being faced with some sort of discrimination around the pandemic. And, and what are your rights as an employee, um, when something that's supposed to be between you and your employer is publicized in the media, and it's a trending topic for people to consume, for people to find entertainment, or even reshare it, as I'm resharing it here on the Guide Live Jam Session platform, right? And I think what we're starting to see is actually shattered trust between employees and employers right now, believe it or not. And I think this Urban Meyer situation is just one example of something someone did, an employee did, in a private context on his own time, that was broadcasted towards large. He got caught. Obviously, people have cameras everywhere, and you never know who's watching, or who knows who at the end of the day. And I think there's parallels that I'm drawing from this to what's going on with these pandemic mandates. And I've even had friends tell me that they're scared to go to work, to be judged. They feel as if they're being discriminated against. And in addition, some people are choosing not to get the vaccine because whether it be because they don't trust the government or they don't feel comfortable, it's their choice at the end of the day. But people are having these very tense conversations with their managers, their bosses, their employers right now, and it's almost as if these conversations they're becoming public discourse, a public discussion, or people are reporting that my job won't let me do this, right? They're sharing their thoughts on social media. And I think one of the things I'm realizing is that companies in this generation can no longer hide, right? No one, everything is up for discussion in terms of the social context. If your employees are not happy with a mandate, or with leadership, or with how you are, or the leader himself or herself or itself or their self, right? You're gonna get talked about, and it's gonna be public eventually. And I think some of the recent allegations and issues that have happened with big technology companies such as Uber, right now Facebook is getting a lot of heat, are more examples of this that I find fascinating, right? How everything is, there's socialized sensationalism right now around everything. And whether or not you believe that's good or bad is not the point. The point is that employers, and to a degree employees, have nowhere to hide. Everyone's dirty laundry is now being socialized, and that's different from, I think, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years ago, when an employer can deal with an employee however they want and no one will really care about it, or it won't be as publicized or as discussed, or be a matter of cultural discussions, right? The way it can be now due to social media, but also I think due to the overwhelming power that employees now have to pursue gig work or other alternative options for work. And more importantly, like, just internet access, right? And the internet has been around for a long time, right? People can talk now, and these conversations can go for days if they don't like their employer, or they don't, or they see mistrust, or bad things happening with other employees. Like, the word spreads fast, right? And then another example I have of this is, Tesla being forced to pay African American worker that worked there as a janitor over $100 million because he was called derogatory terms. He faced racial discrimination, and he was really treated poorly, right? So all of these things are happening. I want to, I want to actually look at that headline real quick, because that's just crazy, right? Tesla must pay $137 million to ex worker over hostile work environment and racism. And this worker recently came out as well, uh, to talk about his experience at Tesla, uh, and the discrimination he faced. And I tried to find the video, but I couldn't find the video. But he spoke out on ABC News, I believe, or a different news platform, which is just fascinating. But I'll share the link so you can read and catch up on this if you're interested, or if this is something that you've been tracking on your own time. Check out ABC News. Tesla worker speaks after winning $137 million lawsuit. Yep, he went to the court of law, and he took it all the way, and now he's gonna get paid probably for the rest of his life, which is it shows how much power you have as a worker. But on the other end, how there's a federal mandate that's not empowering workers to be able to choose to voluntarily get the vaccine. So it's just a really crazy time, I think, in the business world. And I think a lot of these issues are affecting people's lives and livelihood fundamentally, right? One of the things I would love to ask those who are listening and viewing in, is it the role of your employer to tell you what to do or what not to do with your body? Is it? I don't believe it is, personally. I don't believe your employer should tell you what you should do or not do with your body. I don't believe it's the role of any employer to tell you that, any entity to tell you that, to fundamentally be honest with you. But what are your thoughts? How do you feel about what's going on and the fact that, issues, whether it be healthcare related, things that you're doing in your private time after a loss with your football team, how everything's now up for social debate to a degree, even if it's a matter between your employee or between an employee and an employer. How do you feel about this? What's in your head? This has been happening for a while now. It's a continuing trend. I just want to get y'all's thoughts on Guy Live, because this is a topic, and I think would love to get how you all feel. Shout out to my homie and friend, Mr. Richard Moore. He's probably the busiest sales guy I know. There he is. I hope you had a great birthday last week. Thank you so much, Mr. Moore, for celebrating me on my birthday. And it's really, really such an honor to have you as a part of my community, our guy community, and to be a friend and an ally to all of the great things that you do, Mr. Moore. I had an amazing birthday. Last week, by the way, was in Morocco, and just grateful for my time there while visiting my producer and, kind of semi-working on my album as well. All right. With that said, thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's episode of God Live Jam Session, the hottest jam session in the world, in the South, the West, the East Coast. I don't know another jam session called God Live, and I don't need to know another jam session called Guide Live, because there's only one. There's only one Guide Live, and there's only one Team Guide. Check us out at guidegroup.com if you have not. That is our home. We want to support your lifestyle, whatever your lifestyle is. Show us love at guidegroup.com, at guidegroup.com. We're working on a lot of things for you all every single day, because every single day is day one at Guide. And one of the most recent big announcements that we share with our community is that we are one of the official beverage vendors for Team LinkedIn. So shout out to Team LinkedIn, which is arguably one of the hottest and the best social networks for people and professionals. So if you work at LinkedIn, or if you ever visit LinkedIn, or anyone at LinkedIn, they eat good. Well, they also drink good too as well, because they have Big Black Tea, a Guide brand, as one of their tea offerings. If you want a hot, warm, or a hot cup of tea, or a cold cup of tea with some sweetener, if you're into that during the summer, you can find that at LinkedIn's new cafe, which offers our Harmony and our Zen blend for Big Black Tea. So that's amazing. That's huge for us, especially as we cross our 1-year anniversary for Big Black Tea, a Guide brand. We're really grateful for that news. And, it came at such a great time in our journey as a company. And it's something that we've been building towards this entire year as we grow through this pandemic, and as we serve customers, and as we adapt every single day. So thank y'all so much for making that happen, Team Guide. If you want to rock with the best, you got to partner with the best. And we're happy to be a tea vendor for LinkedIn. LinkedIn, literally one of the hottest companies in the world, owned by one of the biggest brands in the world in Microsoft. So check us out at LinkedIn's headquarters. Big black T for you. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. All right, y'all. Shout out to everyone who tuned in today and who will be tuning in later. Much love to you all. Thank you all for showing love to Big Guide, to Team Guide, and for always being there for us as members and customers. Check us out at guidegroup.com and stay tuned for a lot of amazing news that'll be coming out of Camp Guide for the next few months. And I definitely don't think you should, how do I say this? Slack on staying connected with us. You get it? Slack on staying connected with us. Don't slack. Visit us at our home, guidegroup.com, and make sure you sign up as a subscriber and join our wait list. All right? Cool. Talk to you later, y'all. As always, peace, love, and abundance. And if you are not enjoying your Wednesday, start enjoying your Wednesday, because you know it's hump day. And after hump day is a Thursday, which is really a Friday here at Guide. All right, y'all. Talk to you later. Peace. We're not done yet. We're going to jam out to a song that was on my recent extended play. Hope you like it.
I went down on my luck, look, now my money up. Now we really about to shake the city up. I don't have no off days, all I do is run it up. In my hands, all we do is run it up. I went down on my luck, look, now my money up. Now we really about to shake the city up. I don't have no off days, all I do is run it up. In my hands, all we do is run it up. State to state, like I'm dancing with the stars. Look, your boy done made it this far. Remember drinking through valleys with the squad. Now we bustin' ooies like a go. In 93, mama told me I'm a man. She said me working out like a kid. In 99, we ain't even have a car. Now I'm working work, I'm her track star. Mary J always getting on my game. Now I'm whipping in my own life. Open shorty sing, I'm her favorite thing. Balenci, I got mommies on my wish list. Baby girl, I can buy you diamond ring. First, show me you ain't thirsty. Naomi Osaka with the chit chat. I with the rocket tough, we don't riff. Toronto shorty said she love the way I spit. Wait till you hear my greatest hits. I went down on my luck, look, now my money up. Now we really about to shake the city up. I don't have no off days, all I do is run it up. In my hands, all we do is run it up. So to love it just to go and get away. Made mistakes, I'ma take to my grave. King Kuta on my Kendrick Lamar. Who would've thought we would make it this far? From Houston to the top of the charts. Uber money, but this drive don't wish wash. Get a Kanye, it's on sight, on God. So appalled that we made it this far. Tenant coat on my wrist, that's a grill. Google money, but this flex big. I can teach you how to ball like LeBron. First, you gotta catch me at the top. In Atlanta like I'm moving with the mob. Shorty's riding like I'm a 6 guy. Splurging ain't never really been my thing. Feed the homies, then we chase the bigger rings. Simmer balls with the riff ride. Summer sauce with the flex and all caps. I went down on my luck, look, now my money up. Now we really about to shake the city up. I don't have no off days, all I do is run it up. In my hands, all we do is run it up. I went down on my luck, look, now my money up. Now we really about to shake the city up. I don't have no off days, all I do is run it up. In my hands, all we do is run it up. It's that COVID-19 what's next? We're different. We the right and the vaccine. Dog.